Welcome to toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi. So this is part 2 of my Star Wars Vintage Kenner Slave 1 customization project. So here in front of me you can see the Slave 1 as it was at the end of the first video, and it doesn't look like much has changed, but if I turn the ship over and press a tiny little switch hidden in the handle, you can see that some lights switch on. Inside the cockpit there is now a light, so if I rotate this around you can see that Boba Fett is all lit up there in the cockpit. If I turn it round and show you the underside, you can see that the engines now light up with nice red little LEDs. And if we open up the back section, let me just remove the two panels like so, you can see that there's a little LED inside here, and if I rotate Boba Fett down you can see that he's all lit up and the cargo hold is all lit up quite nicely. So that was what I did in the first part of this customization, and there's still a few little bits more that I need to do. While I've not been filming, I've already cleaned up the cockpit. The cockpit I have is actually from a Power of the Force 2 Slave 1, so it's not the tinted glass that's on the original one, and it was fairly scratched. So I've used a bit of T-Cut. The T-Cut's the stuff that you use for cleaning scratches out of car paintwork, and if you rub that on, give it a really quite a good buff down, and then wash all of the T-Cut off, and make sure you do wash it off because it leaves quite a sort of sticky waxy residue. You'll end up with a cockpit that looks a lot more like this. As you can see, this is now quite nice and clean. So the scratches that are on there have all pretty much gone. There's a few really deep ones on the front, but the bulk of them have now disappeared. So we're now on to the sort of final finishing stages of this project. I still need to fit the battery in somehow. As you can see, the battery is sort of loose. I've actually ordered some sticky back Velcro, which I'm hoping will turn up in the next few days, and I'll be able to stick this in place. So in the meantime, let's get on with a few of the other jobs. Obviously there's still one sticker left here that I'm going to remove because I want to make a full set of custom stickers for this vehicle. So let's go ahead and we'll remove the sticker underneath this cockpit glass. Taking the cockpit glass out of a Slave 1 is fairly straightforward. You do have to be a little bit slow and gentle with it because sometimes they do crack, and I've had instances before where especially on the older cockpit glasses on the original vintage Slave 1s, they do crack quite easily. So this is a Power of the Force 2 one, so it should be not so bad, but basically you'll need a knife or something, or I'm using a penknife here, and you just have to gently squeeze the sides of the glass in. They're a little tabbed, and as you can see then it does just pop out, so it's fairly straightforward to do. Just take it easy and be careful because they can crack. So now we can easily get to this sticker and we'll remove this last one. It is an original sticker, but it's pretty damaged, but I'll probably keep this for future restoration in case I want to do another sort of original sort of vintage looking Slave 1, so I'm going to try and save this one. With that all cleaned off, I've now got the process of creating some new stickers to go on this Slave 1. Now the original stickers were fairly plain. I quite like the placement of the stickers, but they didn't really have a great deal of detail in them. And also there were no stickers on the underside of the body of Slave 1, so there's quite a lot of detail put onto the back of here, and there's a few spaces that really could do with some stickers. You can see there's a little flat area there, another one there, another large bit on the bottom of the handle, another one here, and a few others. There even is some space on the handle, although I think I'm going to leave that because obviously that's where you hold the ship, so they're liable to get sort of quite dirty and worn. But I think some of these other areas are crying out for a few more stickers. So people often ask me how I go about designing these stickers, and I have to say it's quite a slow and laborious process. If possible, I'll find the original sticker sheet for the vehicle and I'll take that into Photoshop and try and work on top of it to at least give myself a starting point for sort of some of the scales and sizes. On this Slave 1 toy, a couple of the stickers aren't actually included on the sticker sheet. Actually, one main sticker is not included on the sticker sheet, and that's this sticker that goes over the sort of the front section of the cockpit. That was a factory applied sticker, and so isn't on there, so I have to recreate that one from scratch. And also there's another area on the front of the cockpit here, the top sort of section above Boba Fett's head, that doesn't actually have a sticker on it, and because the new cockpit glass that I'm using is a clear cockpit glass, I'm going to make a sticker that covers that as well and covers the screw hole. On the original toy with the tinted cockpit you couldn't see that so much, but now on this one you can. So in Photoshop it takes me a good few hours to make these stickers. I start with doing some of the simpler ones first and then work my way through the whole ship. If possible, I'll find some nice reference pictures of the original studio model that was made by Lucasfilm, and I'll use that as a sort of guide for colouring and sort of detail. But obviously I want these stickers to look like their Kenner original stickers, not sort of modern ones. So I tried to keep the styling fairly simple and primitive, quite bold colours and quite dark thick lines, which was the sort of style of most of the Star Wars toys. And this time it took me nearly 4 hours to make the stickers because there's an awful lot of them, and also recreating some new ones to go on the places on the underside meant that I had to design things from scratch and also measure very carefully the model itself, measuring how big they were. And I quite often do test prints as well, print things out, hold them onto the ship, make sure that they all line up properly, and then make any modifications that are needed. So it took me about 4 hours to create this sticker sheet. Once I'm finally happy that I've created all the stickers that I'm going to need, I'll then print out this file. I generally print it out onto some sort of photo quality sticky backed printer paper. This time I'm using some matte Epsom paper that I picked up off eBay. You can buy packs of 10 of this for about sort of £10. It's not the cheapest of stuff, but it's quite good quality, and the sticky back nature of it is pretty good. And so what I'll end up with is a nice printed out sheet. This I then spray with a clear lacquer, and the clear lacquer puts quite a nice sheen onto the top of the paper. It doesn't make it glossy, but it makes it slightly, gives it a sort of slightly luster feeling to it, and it makes it look a lot like the original stickers would have been. The original stickers weren't particularly glossy, but they weren't matte. So, and once you've all done all that, you'll end up with a sticker sheet that looks something like this. As you can see here, I've printed it out, and it looks quite nice. You can see it's got a gentle sort of sheen to it. So now these are ready for me to cut and apply to the ship. As you can see, I've made quite a lot of new ones. Obviously there's a lot here that are based on the original, although I've recoloured them to match the sort of green along the top and pink along the bottom that the Slave 1 ship had. I've also created a few stickers to go on the underside of the ship, because the ship never had stickers on the inside. I've made a new cockpit sticker, and I've also made a new sticker to go at the top edge of the cockpit. As you can see here, this one will go on this part of the cockpit. And then a few others like these two here. Again, the ship never had stickers on this section here or this section here, and if you look at Slave 1, it should have quite a sort of distinctive grey line, so that will work quite nicely for that. And on the back, obviously the grey line is continued by the back panel, which I don't have on this one yet. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these all out and start applying them to the ship. And so here we have the ship with the new stickers in place. As you can see, it actually looks quite nice. A couple of the new stickers I've made are fairly fiddly to get to sort of hold in place. These two that I've added to the front to sort of continue the grey stripe, they do, they're sort of, you know, you're sticking a flat stick on a curved surface, so it does take a little bit of sort of pushing and pressing down to get them to sit on, but they do work quite well in the end. The new one that I created for the inside of the top part of the cockpit, again, is a bit of a pickle to get to sit straight, because again you've got a surface that's curved in two directions, so I ended up cutting it down the middle. It's not as amazing as I hoped it would be. I think if you had the grey original cockpit you wouldn't notice it and it would work fine. In this clear one it's all right. Maybe I'm being a bit overcritical. It just doesn't lie as flat as I would quite like. But all the other stickers look pretty nice. I've made them a lot more sort of in keeping with the original colour tones of Slave 1. So you can see all of the top section here is green base, pink ones along the bottom edge, then a grey stripe sort of running along this mid-front section, pink around this side, and then grey again where they should be. And if we turn the ship over, like so, you can see I've also added stickers onto the bottom side. I've added a few because there's quite a lot of flat panelling on the bottom, so I added a couple sort of all over the place really, just to add a little bit more detail. I think it looks pretty good. It's certainly a lot more in keeping with the screen sort of scene prop that we see in Empire Strikes Back, but still quite toy-like. And also, actually, if I just take the Han Solo carbonite block out of the back here, you can see I've made new side panels for that, and again I found some reference images to show what the original panel should look like, and I've tried to make this look a lot more in keeping with the sort of movie accurate panels. I didn't really want to make any further modifications or holes in the ship to sort of fit something in to hold this battery in place, and luckily there's quite a large flat area down here in the sort of cargo hold section of the ship. In fact, there's quite a few spaces, as you can see if I rotate this around, the flat areas. So I thought the easiest way to do it is actually to just velcro the battery in place so it doesn't rattle around. So I bought some sticky backed velcro. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a small amount onto one side of the battery and then stick a small amount onto the sort of inside of the ship. That way I can velcro the battery in place and it shouldn't rattle around, and if I need to change it I can just unhook it, change the battery and stick a new bit of velcro onto the new battery. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll get it all sort of stuck in place. So just going to stick the two bits of velcro together so I can work out how long I need this to be. Not particularly long. Then I can go ahead and cut this and we'll attach the velcro inside the ship. So this has got a sticky backed area to it, so really all I need to do, actually if I just work out which way around the battery sits best, like that, I can just stick this velcro to the back of the battery like so, and if I take the sticky back off the second part of the velcro, I'm hoping I can stick this in place and then the battery will be, I can unhook it from the velcro once it's inside. So, and that does seem to work, so I can now just push that velcro down with my finger and we can easily then slot this battery in place like so, and it's all out of the way. If I wanted to go further I would actually maybe even end up painting this battery or covering it in black tape so that it doesn't stand out, but I think for the moment just slotting that in is going to work perfectly. The last thing I wanted to add to the Slave 1 before I sort of class it as finished is some battle damage stickers. Now if you've watched some of my previous restorations and customisations you'll notice that I've made my own set of sort of battle damage stickers in the style of the Kenner battle damage that came with the X-Wing. You can get this PDF file from my website, and what you'll need to do is print it onto clear sticky backed acetate paper. This is stuff you can buy anywhere. I bought this off eBay. You get quite a few sheets for sort of £10. It's pretty thin stuff, and when you stick it onto the ships it does look a lot like the original sort of clear plastic that they used for the battle damage stickers. So once I've got these all printed out I then cut them out. Really you can just cut out as many or as few as you want. I've got a sort of few varied size ones here, some large battle damage bits, some small ones, and I'm just going to sort of randomly stick them on the ship where I think it looks best, and then we'll take a look at the final version of this custom Slave 1 with lights. And here we have the finished Slave 1 with custom stickers and battle damage added. Both these sticker sheets will be available from toy-polloi.com, so if you want to make your own version of this, go straight there and you can download them to make your own version. As you can see, the ship actually looks really nice now. These extra bits of battle damage, I do like the battle damage, and I like the style of the old Kenner ones where it was just a sticker put on. I know some people don't, but I think it actually looks pretty nice. And I'm really pleased with how this ship has come out. It certainly looks a lot more like the Slave 1 that you see in The Empire Strikes Back. And of course we have the added advantage as this one has lights. So if we turn the ship over and switch the little switch on the underside, like so, you can see the engines light up and they're looking pretty nice. And then of course the cockpit is all lit up as well. So if I rotate it around, you can see that Boba Fett is all nicely lit up there inside his cockpit. And if we take the back panels off, like so, and then rotates down his cockpit bed like so, you can see that he's also lit up there in the rear cargo hold of Slave 1. So I'm really pleased with how this all worked out. The little kit for making and adding the LEDs, as I said, you can buy it off eBay. It costs a grand total of $3.99. It's designed for remote control cars, but it's pretty easy to use, and anyone with a sort of minimal knowledge of wiring can certainly easily add this to their own Slave 1. So I hope this video has been of interest to you all. It's certainly nice to do a little sort of custom job like this. I don't often get the time to do them, but when I do, I find they're certainly much more enjoyable than just straight restorations. And you get a lot more enjoyment out of taking something and adding new bits onto it. So I really do hope this has been of interest to you, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching Toy Polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow Toy Polloi on Twitter and Facebook.